بالعربي عشان وكمان انا في الاسئله والاجوبه حتى متاح. So you don't have to worry. I'll switch now to English. Thank you for making the time for us today. Today I'm going to talk to you about Mango, which is the next release of Windows Phone 7. I am going to do lots of demos on different aspects of it. But first, let me share with you one thing, which is what is our North Star when we, as Microsoft, begin to do new versions of Windows Phone. As Gustavo said, there are many smartphones which gives you lots of functionality and lots of features and so on, but most of the time you have to jump in and out of applications, in and out of places to get what you want. In Windows Phone, our North Star, our compass is always to make sure that you get what you need in an easy and fast way. So while we're going through the demos, I'll come back to this concept because my main purpose of aiming today is to show you exactly this, assuming it will work. So anybody did not see a Windows Phone 7 before? Mango or not? Okay, so I'll try to cover the old and the new. Okay. So what you see here is this is my phone, and this is not a dummy thing. When I move things here, it's me, so I'm not using. So basically, when we start any Windows Phone, you get the tiles, and the tiles are where you get to different places. Some of them are active tiles, and some of them are hubs, and some of them are just tiles. The first thing that we notice when we're using phones is we are always doing communication. Sometimes through the phone, sometimes through the web, like what Gustavo said about Facebook, SMS, and so on and so forth. So one thing that we get is the people hub. When I'm communicating with someone, I'm communicating with them as a person. I care about them, and I communicate with them over multiple channels. How that happens in Windows Phone 7 is we bring all these channels and give you what you care about, the communication that you are doing with it. So let me see that. Let's search for my friend Gustavo. So Gustavo is Brazilian, I'm Egyptian, so we have some things in common, but we're colleagues at work, but we're also friends, so we share different things in different aspects. When I look at Gustavo's car, I think this display is maybe better. We'll have to do with this. If I pivot over to what's new, what I'm getting here is this Facebook status updates. So in the first page, I see in his profile all the information about Gustavo. Some of it I have in Outlook or in my Active Directory, our Microsoft Word environment, and some of them are over from Facebook and from Windows Live and so on. All of these I see as one card for him. It's only one way of viewing it. When I look at what's new, we said that. When we look at pictures, then I get, I don't know, Gustavo okay with me showing the pictures is tagged in. So we look at pictures where Gustavo was tagged. So whether Gustavo uploaded pictures of himself on the internet, or whether he was tagged by others on Facebook and so on and so forth. So these are the things that is page. Now, one interesting thing for me, which is something I really like about this, is the history. Now, here's the first point where I want to emphasize. When I talk to Gustavo, I send him an SMS, I send him a mail, I chat with him on Facebook. That's all for me. I'm talking or communicating with Gustavo. They are not different things for me. And this is exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing two messages, one call. Yesterday we had some of these. Except Ryan is actually a calendar invite that he sent me, and I accepted it. So again, another interaction between me and him. And all the interactions and the mails and stuff are in the history, but compiled as one thing. So it's a seamless experience of what communication did happen between us. Another thing that's interesting in the people group is the people hub is the concept of groups. Now, lots of things about groups. I mean, in most of the software we can group things together. But the nice thing about this one is it also combines all the feeds together. So for me, I created here family, friends, work. These are the three groups I have. So for me, when I look at this, I see my kids, I see my wife, I see my father, and so on. You notice the active types here. You find that my wife had a status update. If anything, then I'm seeing what is the latest thing that we've done together. If I send them a message here, I don't know if it's visible or not, but what stays in blue under send message here is text or Windows Live. If they were in Facebook, then it's on Facebook too. Now, this is very important because in most smartphone platforms, in order for you to conference some people in, you have to be all on the same platform, right? Right? Thank you. So here, it's not the same. You can be having someone on Facebook, someone on Messenger on Windows, and someone on SMS. And you send to the group, everyone will have their message wherever they are. So this is an important concept because we don't lock you in one platform to be able to communicate through conferencing. So when I get what's new, I see what everybody is doing. I can spy on my kids. I can do whatever I want, and then pictures and so on. Other stuff as well is messaging. So, for example, if you're looking at Outlook, if you're looking at Hotmail, whatever the mail environment that you're looking in, we have now added threads. So you can, if you have these three dots beside the mail, then if you click it, then it's a whole conversation that's going between many people, and then you can expand it or collapse it within your mail. So, in terms of communication, we are looking at many additions. I'll switch between communication and apps and the internet to be able to cover most of what we need to cover. But basically, we are bringing together the people you care about, how you reach them through different channels, and compiling that in one seamless experience so you don't have to keep jumping in and out of a different application, or you have all to be on the same time. Let's switch to something else, which is the applications. As we started, I'm the director of developer tools, and basically I've been 21 in software development. So my area is actually in how people develop applications. I've done it, and then I help people build. So I'm going to show you some of the developer tools later in this session. But basically, there is tons of opportunities on Windows 1.7 with Mango on the application development side. The reason for that is we've shown you some of the features of how we get developers get the phone to be seamless integrated. Now, the next step of that, of the evolution of that, is how we enable developers to do that the same way. So how can they integrate in the phone as well, so that we don't end up with silo apps all over the place. So let's look at some of that. First thing, something that we have to look at is Office. So let me share with you the first app. And we all know Office, we all use Office. One thing that's interesting here on Office on the Windows 1.7 is you have locations. So you can have a SkyDrive, and here you have free 25 gigabytes of storage live for you. Or you can have things on a SharePoint if you're working within a company and you have your own internet portal. You have the new Office 365, the service from Microsoft for cloud documents. Or you can store it on the phone. You are free to choose whether you want to share anywhere of these. Now, if I click on something, then I start that. Let's start this document, for example. This is a Word document. Whenever I start typing here, I can also share, okay? And that sharing will allow me to do this on the SkyDrive, allow the permissions to go with that, with who is allowed to see it or not, and so on and so forth. So the phone is not anymore an island of itself where I'm writing the applications, then I have to connect it to the PC to be able to see what has been done or share it with others. Another part that Gustavo mentioned is the gaming. We all get into gaming. So here you have a very nice experience with Xbox Live. So what's happening here is we brought most of what the phone hardware can accommodate within Xbox, and we put it on the phone. So literally on this thing, you can be playing against people who are playing on an actual Xbox. It takes care of the phone abilities in terms of graphics hardware. So if you see now, if I flip here, it gets my 3D avatar that's on Xbox, and it keeps on doing stuff for me. If I want to maybe try Fruit Ninja, let's see that. I'm not going to play a lot, but to give you the concept. Another thing that we do here is and the reason I'm getting into Xbox is I wanted to show you the multi-threading that we have. Okay, so if I can start playing here, and it's the normal Fruit Ninja if you know it. Now, if I get back from this and then do a click, I can do the multi-threading. So now while Fruit Ninja is being paused in the ground, I can flip over, see another game, or see the other pages that I was trying to do. Lots of fun around with the applications on Xbox Live, see Need for Speed, lots of graphics intensive applications that you can use on the phone. Now, let's see an application that our folks in Redmond has done for us, which shows us some features of how application developers can utilize the phone and how to integrate with it. So if you've seen any Microsoft demos before, you'd know the name Contoso is the name of the company that we use for the application, the demo. It's not a real company, and basically it's what we use for the demo. So on this phone, you have the search button. So if I click on the search button here, it brings me to Bing search. Okay. Now let's assume I'm looking for a product, which is Xbox, for example. And then I just enter. Bing search brings me the search results. The search results can be normal web search results, or some news about Xbox, or some things about the product itself. Okay. If I go into the application that we talked about, Contoso, I'm going to skip this one. Then, so later in the demo, I'll show you how the applications integrate into the phone. But let's move into the internet part of things. For example, if I go into Internet Explorer, Gustavo talked about HTML5 and how we are using this standard to accelerate the graphics on the hardware of the phone. So let's see how that goes on some of the HTML. This is live from the web. Actually, this site is ie.microsoft.com/testdrive, and what it does is it has some HTML5 pages that are testing the different browsers. So let's see how that happened. We want to go here. The famous HTML5 is fish tank. And here is, this is a website now. So it's the browser, IE9, rendering graphics. And then if I increase maybe the number of fish, you'll see how the graphics through IE9, the rendering is happening on the phone in real life. Okay, so another thing that we can see here, and let's see if this demo will work, is how the search works. Again, many of the things that we see here are things that we see on other platforms. But what I want to show you is not how features work, it's how the experience works. Okay, so for example, if we look at this application here, okay, of the barcode. So let's say I'm in a shop, a library, and I see a book, and then I get to see the barcode. I can point my phone on it, and then it will get that brief history of time. I like to read physics, so that's the book. When I click on that book, what I'm getting is not search results. So here's where we start to see the difference. It's not about recognizing a barcode and then just bringing you search results from the web. It recognizes that this is a book, so it brings you a book card. And the book card has description, reviews, prices, and extras, which is another good thing. So you have new applications installed on the phone. For example, Amazon Kindle. So Amazon Kindle, if I click on it now, it is integrated now with that experience. So when Amazon built their Kindle application, what they did is actually they integrated with the phone, so if it passes them a book card, they go into their application knowing that this is the card that we're looking at. So what I can do eventually is, if I have Kindle properly set up here, is from a book that I saw and thought I would like, or maybe I see it with another person, I can actually through Kindle bring that book over my phone and do it. Now, another thing on it is what if barcodes don't work? Let's see another physics book that I see, and then we look into that from the cover only, with no barcodes this time. Okay. So again, the book. That happens not necessarily for books. Most of the time you're passing in a store, you find lots of stuff, DVDs, products, or what have you. You can see other stuff which is not books. So again, let's see the same experience. And then most of you would know Finding Nemo, so let's see if the phone recognizes it or not. Okay, now what it's bringing me now is not a book card, it's a movie card. So with all the reviews of the movie, and again I can go into Amazon shopping and buy that book. Now, these are some of the things that you can see on the phone. But now let's talk about developers, which is a topic near to my heart, because with every time there is